What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we are going to talk about the best notebook ever. Was that staccato enough? The best notebook ever. Okay, so I'm really excited to talk about this one because I actually did a review of this person's notebook 5 years ago. Actually, hang on, I can tell you exactly when. I started this notebook in 2019, which means that at minimum, I was sent this in 2019, but I was probably even sent it before. And that is a notebook from Elia Note. So this is my old journal, which I have completely filled up. You can actually see, you can see my beginning here when I actually did the torture test. But it is from Elia Note. Now, this is my old one, clearly, but they sent me two. And the reason why they sent me two notebooks is because when I got this one, which was my first introduction to Elia Note as a company, also my first introduction to the world of Tomoe River paper, which was the best and worst thing to ever happen to me. It was the best because this is the best paper and I love it and I adore it, but it was the worst because now every other paper pales in comparison, and we all know, Tomoe River is in and out, who knows. But it is the best paper, in my opinion, and all other paper pales in comparison. But they sent me this one and I was absolutely gobsmacked by it. It became my favorite notebook. I filled it up. I went to go get some more and I couldn't. Elia Note went away for a few years and I had to go through many other notebooks, and some of them were not Tomoe River paper, and I was just gutted. Some of you who've been watching my content for a while know that after this one, eventually I did find Galen Leather's Tomoe River notebooks, but they were significantly more expensive because they're leather. This is not. And then even then, Galen Leather stopped making Tomoe River because Tomoe River stopped being made and then now is being made again. Paper's confusing. But then they came out with their Cosmo Air Light paper, so I went through that notebook. That notebook's not bad, but Tomoe River paper is the best. But when I was just cruising on Instagram one day, I saw that Elia Note was back, and I got so excited that I reached out to them and I said, "Yay, you're back!" And they were kind enough to send me two of their new notebooks. They also sent me, because unlike last time, they're actually carrying some inks, and they're carrying Troublemaker inks. So they were kind enough to send me two bottles, one of abalone and one of petrichor. And I was really, really excited. I like to put this in my Pilot Custom 912 with the Falcon nib and the Ebonite feed, because these are those chromatic shading inks where they kind of change color depending on how saturated or heavy the ink is, and I absolutely adore it. So they were kind enough to send me those, which I have one of them inked up at the moment. And two of their newer notebooks. So let's start with the smaller one. So this one is much thinner. It is completely black. And I'll show you all close-ups in a moment, but completely black. No branding on the outside. Does have some branding on the inside of the notebook, and then tells you some details about this one. So A5 size, 224 pages, dot grid, 52 GSM, white, Tomoe River. And then has sort of that first page where it's kind of glued together, and then where I did my ink torture test, and then the rest is all just blank dot paper. The things that I love about these notebooks is dynamite. They lie flat from day one, no matter where you are, which is just like dynamite. Now I'm holding it in my hand, so it's hard to do that, but you'll see when I have it on my desk and you have an overhead angle, you'll see that it fits. So they sent me that one, which is really, really cool. And then they sent me also their larger option. So much, much thicker. Put the black one there. You can see that. So that's really cool. They did not have those options before. So same thing, completely unadorned, no branding until you open it up. You get their logo again, and then again tells you more about it. So A5 size, 448 pages, 7mm line, 52 GSM. That is a change from their previous notebook. So this is their previous, this is their new. Their previous notebook had 496 pages versus 448, so slightly less amount of pages. But the biggest notice that I had is the millimeter. So this one was a 6mm line width, and the new one is 7mm line width. So you wouldn't think that 1mm would make a huge difference, but boy oh boy does it ever. It really, really, really does. And I like the 7. I didn't have a problem with the 6 myself, but as I go over and I kind of like look through some of my writings, which I won't show you because this is my personal journal, it is a little bit small, and I have fairly small writing, so I feel like most people would have had an issue with it for sure. Oh, so this is just a random benefit. Wednesday, May 27th, 2020, I'm taking Parker back to the vet on Monday, so that will be a low point. I hate having to take her because she hates it, and trying to get her into the carrier is a nightmare. She won't have to go for long. She just has to get blood taken so we can find out if her slight abnormal test from February is better. Yeah, she has a marker in her blood. I can't remember. It's one of the like lymphocytes or something. The things that like tells you if they're fighting like an infection that is slightly elevated. But we've been keeping an eye on it for like 3 years now, and it's just her normal is to be slightly elevated. So she's healthy as a horse. No worries. But I did find it a little bit small when I had like the mediums or broads or something like that. So I'm happy to announce that they have 7mm, which sometimes can seem a bit big for me based on my writing, especially because I tend to use smaller ones, smaller nib sizes. But I think for the majority of people, this is what you want. So very happy about that. So let's flip the camera around and take a closer look. So the texture on these notebooks is really, really cool. It would make a great ASMR item, but I like it quite a bit. It's very, very smooth, very slick, but yet like grippy, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But the binding is really cool. Let me zoom out a little here. And I like it quite a bit. So I'm going to put this one aside for now and just show you this guy. So if I open this up, you can see it lays totally, totally flat. And as you're writing, like obviously it'll like flatten the pages themselves too. But it doesn't fight you at all, which is super nice. That is a big, 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 big plus. So let's get into it. And I'll try to fit it all in frame. So I really like their logo. I think it's really cute. It looks like it's like, been hand drawn, which it probably was, to be fair. But I like it a lot. And then it has, of course, the details about the notebook. And then flip it open. And I chose to get the lined. There are blank pages if you want as well. But I chose to get lined because that's my preferred for my journals. So if this will ever focus, you can see this is why I really loved Tomoe River paper. You really get that shade and you get the sheen. Like, check out that red. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff right there. The color accuracy is not great with what I can show. Let me turn this light on here. The color accuracy is not picking up on my camera very well, but this is like multiple colors, multiple shades. which is why I really like it. These are the 2 inks that they sent me. And then some more tests down here. And then the beauty, oops, skipped too many pages, is, oh my goodness, sorry, I shook the camera there. 52 GSM is a very thin paper. So this is the one reason why some people don't like 52 GSM Tomoe River, is because you do get some showing through, but it is not bleeding through. It's not ghosting or whatever. Well, I guess it is ghosting, but you can see it, but it is 100% like you can use it over top and it's no big deal. Even the like giant swabs did not bleed through. The Sharpie wanted to bleed through, but didn't. But it bleeds through pretty much every single paper ever, and then still doesn't. And I will say on camera, the show through is actually a little bit worse on camera than I see with my own eyes in real life. But you're definitely going to be able to see through the page for sure. Now, you'll notice that there's a little bit of buckling around the paper here. But that's because the amount of ink that I pulled onto the page for these 2 samples was extraordinary, like absolutely extraordinary. And that's why it's buckling a little bit, because the paper is thin. But it's the 52 GSM, which, you know, if you've ever used Tomoe River paper before, you will know exactly what that's like. And if I get the old notebook out, you'll see the old one did the same thing. It did buckle as well. And this is where you can kind of tell the difference between the old line and the new line. The new line, let me see if I can show you up close. I don't know if it's going to focus. You can see how it's kind of like got those dots. So it's not a solid line. It is a little bit darker than the old notebook that they have. But I appreciate that it's not like just a thick line. I'm so sorry for my hands. They're unreasonably dry these days. But guys, it's just magnificent. And I really like that they have those dots, because it makes it seem like a much lighter line. Yeah, and you can really see the shading, the sheen, and like the paper fibers. Like, oh my gosh, this is just the best. This is just the absolute best. It handles shimmer like no problem. And of course, this notebook here with the dots handles it all just magnificently as well. And I mean, it should. Let me try and focus here for you. It should, because it's the same paper. It's just dots instead of lines. But it really does show that shimmery goodness, which typically I don't like. But with glass dip pens, I really do. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It is just gorgeous. And the nice thing, like I said, it does lie flat, but the build quality is really nice as well. Like, for being so simplistic, it's really, really great. Like I said, I've had my old one since 2019, and I finished it in 2020. So it took me quite a while to go through it, but like, you'd never know, because it holds up magnificently. So like, their binding, their actual quality is just dynamite. And I'm very, very pleased with it. Like I said, I really like that you can lay it completely open. So let me get out a handy dandy pen here. This is the Pilot Custom 823. This is just their regular standard plastic nib with a fine, or plastic feed with a fine nib. And the ink is, can you see this? Pilot Iroshizuku Suki It just feels so, so lovely. Like, this is a very fine nib, and the paper is just so, so smooth that it really brings out the best quality in the ink and the way that the nibs feel. So 10 out of 10, recommend, absolutely. Shipping is a little bit expensive from Malaysia, but if you're gonna get it, I highly, highly recommend checking them out. If you're gonna get it, I recommend getting multiple notebooks, some ink, like make it, a bigger order to make it worthwhile with that shipping. Do check them out on Instagram as well. Thank you, Elia Note. 10 out of 10. Fully recommend. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Elia Note, thank you once again for sending this to me. I'm so happy you are back. I wish you all of the success in the world. And everyone else, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe if you want to see more every Monday and Friday and the occasional Tuesday video. Check out the description for the link to my Patreon account and my Discord if you want to help support me and what I do here. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Big shout out to all my Patreon members. Let me know if you prefer this quick version or the older version where I went through one by one, but I appreciate all of you so, so much.